How's it going, my friend? I want to do a video today to talk about loyalty to self. Now, what does that mean? Loyalty to self, what's that about? Basically, what that means is you have a relationship with yourself in addition to all the other relationships. So, friends, family, loved ones, colleagues, etc. Right? And I think it's important that in all the relationships, it's important to take priority in that basic relationship, what I consider foundational, that talking about loyalty to self, your relationship with yourself. Now, why I say that is because the quality of your relationship with yourself affects the quality of your other relationships, period. It's like this beautiful inside out flow. If you find areas, perhaps if in your relationship with people, when you have issues, is oftentimes I know for myself, I can trace it back to how I feel about myself, my relationship with myself. And mind you, and when I say loyalty to self, to kind of disclaim something, this isn't about only thinking of yourself and it's just, I am the center of the universe. Everybody's supposed to bow down to me type of thing. No, no, that's not what I'm talking about at all. It's the contrary, but it's recognizing that I can be my best self and help others and assist others when I've got the baseline within myself taken care of. Think about the example, right? I don't know if you've ever flown out, if you've ever traveled, been on the airplane. And, we had the flight attendant come through and they're talking about the instructions. This is how you use a seatbelt. This is how you do this, all the types of things. And there's one particular moment where they talk about when there's a drastic change in air pressure, right? A drastic change in air pressure and the air masks fall down. What they usually instruct is that make sure you have your mask on before helping somebody put theirs on. From the practical perspective, make sure you have your oxygen mask on before assisting others. Because otherwise, it'll just be a situation where it's a broken person trying to help another broken person. And although I'm a fan of having hope that perhaps something positive can occur from it, right? It's not about having to be perfect or anything like that. But I think to put your best foot forward, to be at the best of service, that is to say, I help myself as I help you. I give to myself as I give to you. It's really important to make sure that I'm operating at that place. Because what oftentimes, like if there's this lack of not putting enough attention in my relationship with myself and I start focusing on other people and putting other people before me, then I start to run the risk of putting myself experiencing burnout, fatigue, feeling like, people drain me. If you're feeling drained and all this interacting with people, that's a good indication that you've left yourself out. So the important thing that to really emphasize here is I mentioned a little bit earlier, when it comes to handling all the relationships with balance is being of service. So it's making sure I got myself, I got me as I'm helping somebody else out, again, covering that baseline. Because that's the best way that anyone can be of service, to be in that position. And I definitely don't want to encourage people to want to be like work mats or being like selfless. Because me personally, I think selflessness can be not good, to be honest. I remember it was said to me that selflessness makes for a good technique, but a horrible way of life. And while, yes, there are situations with people where we have to forget ourselves and think of the other person, those are usually moments in time where that is required. But when all is said and done, there has to be a place you come back to. You have to come back home to the self. And that's from the perspective of you have your life to live. You have a responsibility to live your own life. Nobody can live your life for you. Just as much as, like, for example, no one can make you eat for you or use the bathroom for you. You have to do that. So living your own life is fulfilling a need and a responsibility that you have to yourself. So it's important not to leave yourself out, my friend. Whatever relationship you have with people, it's great. If you want to help, by all means, extend that hand. But just don't leave yourself out. You can have relationships where you help people, maybe a lot of people, and feel energized rather than feeling drained and all this and that. That's that's a lack of neglecting that foundational relationship, that relationship to self. So balancing that and the other relationships, I think it's key to having more fruitful, meaningful, relationships, connection. Because yes, we're all here in this beautiful planet together, in this beautiful school we call Earth. And it's definitely important to really weigh everything and just move with that sense of balance, right? 'Cause I always thought balance, oh man, it sounds so cliche, but at this stage of my life, I understand that it is necessary to really claim the best life, to live a joyful life, an abundant life, whatever that version of your best life looks like. That is required. That is a non-negotiable, my friend. And so I hope I gave you something to think about, shifting that perspective of loyalty to self in a way that it's like it really affects everything. To the extent is how you do anything is how you do everything. That was a quote that I don't know who said it, but it always resonated with me. And I think it's very much applicable in this. How I do in my own relationship with myself, how I'm doing in that relationship in that regard is pretty much going to set the tone in some ways in my relationship with other people. Be of service. Yeah, like I said, help people. Don't, we're all here together. We're all essential parts here. We're all very important. And no one's neither greater nor lesser than another individual, right? We all have a part to play in our own lives and in the lives of others. What I want to emphasize at the end of the day is just don't leave yourself out, right? Make sure you got you before you start jumping in. So hope you got something out of it, my friend. And yeah, if there's anything that stood out to you, resonated, leave a comment. I look at them and love to hear your thoughts on this and any experiences that you have related to this topic, loyalty to self. And so that's it for today's video. And as always, my friend, take care.